So I just want to shift gears a little bit and talk about this whole notion of conflict in the workplace.
Okay.
Right. Conflict is a big deal. Mm-hmm. As a leader, we have to deal with conflict.
Yeah. Have humans, will have conflict is my motto.
Absolutely. So it's not something that you can avoid.
Correct.
Right? It's something that sometimes looks for you or finds you. Mm-hmm. But as a leader, sometimes you have to go create it. You have to go create conflict.
Yep.
Okay? So talk to me a little bit about leadership and conflict, because in order to be successful as a leader, you have to have a certain propensity for dealing with conflict. Now, there are some would say that if you are someone who is conflict avoidant,
correct,
meaning you turn your head when trouble arises.
Right.
You turn the other eye when you see someone, for example, breaking a policy or doing something that they shouldn't do because you don't want to engage in the conflict.
Okay.
Would you suggest that person sign up for leadership?
Okay. Like all skills, leadership is a skill.
Very good.
There's attributes associated with it. I will always be the determinant. I will always be at choice. Do I want to develop the skills that my organization sees as valuable within a leader?
Sure.
Always at choice. There is no hope for you if in fact you choose. And I'll talk to conflict on two levels when it comes to leadership, because you said something about, the leaders have to actually, you didn't use the word encourage, but it was something like that. And I would say that what a leader needs to do is continually stretch the comfort level of learning for the people that they're leading. That they don't want complacency. They want people to be able to become creative, and creativity comes from learning stress. So one word is conflict, but in fact what you're trying to do is instill a learning stress into the situation. Then the other part, conflict avoidance. That takes many, many different forms, but at a base level where I come out, when it comes to a leader, you have to care enough to confront. Confrontation is caring enough to confront.
If done in a positive spirit.
Yeah. Many times an employee is making a judgment. Can I trust this manager enough to share a different perspective?
Yes.
So we're really talking about trust, not conflict. And many times you will not push back on someone constructively because you know that constructive or not, they can't be trusted not to use it against you.
Yes.
No supervisor can do to you what you do not allow. And what I would always say is do not match negative energy with negative energy.
Very, very true.
That's the key. Move away from it, come back later. It's anytime negative energy is met face on, it's going to be ugly. Because a person can't even see in the moment. They're already so fired up in their brain that the frontal lobe is locked down. They are not going to be listening constructively.
Yeah, that's great advice, by the way, because confronting negativity with negativity creates greater negativity.
You betcha.
Hopefully there won't be an explosion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Either internal or external. But anytime you've got the forces of negativity building, you are at risk of something tragic happening or something unfortunate happening at the very least.
But I'd like to tie back in the spirituality, like where does your spirit come in the midst of conflict in the workplace? And what I would say is that when you are constructively working at bringing your best qualities to the surface,
Sure.
you have learned certain skills of reflection and self-awareness that you are more comfortable not engaging when someone is flaring than you will be tempted to go at it energy to energy. And that's what spirituality, that's what knowing what enlivens your spirit and having a good sense of personal self-awareness can give you. That's the gift. Because you may remember a time when, boy, you would have went toe-to-toe. Every name they called you, you would have had one back.
Sure.
And now you enter the conflict and you become the observer of the crazy, let's say.
You know, and one of the things that I think it's really important to understand that you said in that was self-management.
Oh, yes. Self-awareness is a key part of self-management.
If I know that something pushes my button,
Yes.
and I'm aware
Yep.
that when somebody says something or does something, I get a negative emotion.
Correct.
If I know that about myself,
Correct.
then I have a choice.
Correct.
Right? Because now when I'm confronted with that emotion, I can either go mano a mano
Yep.
with the negative energy, or I can back it down.
Correct.
And I can try to defuse the situation, but certainly defuse myself.
That's, at the end of the day, that's the only mind you can change, that's the only heart you can change, that's the only anything you can impact in the moment. How you manage yourself, how you respond, all of that is centered in your realm of control. It is the hardest.
Yes, it's hard.
You'll do it right 2 times, and then you won't get it right again for the next 10.
Well, it's hard because pride and ego are on the table.
You bet.
Right? Particularly
Sure.
if it's a public confrontation.
Absolutely, yeah.
But to be an effective leader, you have to be able to manage emotion.